My church brother, Chuck, took me for a walk in his neighborhood in Lakewood, California. It's a typical Lakewood block. He pointed out to me certain homes that I asked him to identify. Homes where the owner-occupier had actually grown up in the home and it had been passed on to him by his or her parents. Homes, but he took it upon himself to also point out homes where the parent may have helped the offspring purchase the home by using equity in a home they already owned. Homes where the people living in the homes were the blood relatives of the people who own the homes. I asked him to point this out because in the United States, the greatest proportion of wealth for the bottom 90% is through home ownership. And historically, Black people have had obstacles put in front of them on purpose from being homeowners. So I wanted to take a walk on a typical Lakewood street. And if you haven't watched my video on how the history of Lakewood is really about creating a white enclave from Long Beach, you should do that. Just to see how many homes on a typical block the actual home was generational wealth. It was not 50% of the homes. It was not 15% of the homes. But for my Black viewers, I just want you to imagine how it would have been if 3% of the homes on every typical American block that is now 99% not African American were homes that carried generational wealth for African Americans. What would the implications of that be? When the person living in the home is the blood relative of the owner, they may be paying market rate rent, but that money is still staying within the family. When the parents bought a home way back in the day and the home appreciated in an area where African Americans were not even allowed to purchase, the homeowner is then able to use the equity in that home to help his adult son or daughter buy a home of their own or send them to college so that they can get the kind of job that will allow them to buy a home of their own. The obstacles I'm talking about to home ownership, many, but not all, were legally struck down in the courts. But what I'm trying to illustrate with this walk is that the effects of those obstacles persist to today in contributing to the wealth gap between African Americans and white Americans. A lot of people want to say, don't talk about the past, go forward, the 60s are over, slavery's over, blah, blah, blah. And they don't want to see how the legacy effects of all that is still implicated in the wealth gap today. So now let's take a walk with Chuck on his typical American block.
He was renting when his mother died.
Okay.
She owned the house.
Okay.
Had he bought it from her at pennies on the dollar, or did he inherit it? I don't know.
I understand. So we don't know on that one, but
that's one of the houses.
All right.
We do work across the street.
Okay.
That house is not currently now in the same family. However, it was inherited by the son who lived there.
For how many years would you say?
They were original owners, so 1950 to 2010.
So he grew up there and kept it and just recently sold it.
he grew up there. His parents held it. He was out in Lake Elsinore or someplace.
Okay.
And when they died, he was in the midst of a divorce, and he moved in here and lived.
Okay. Okay.
And it was sold on his death. His daughter chose not to
keep it. Okay. Okay. That's exactly the type of thing I would want to know.
We have the next house, 6316.
Okay.
Raised in the house. He took the house when his father died. Did he buy it for pennies on the dollar from mom? Mm-hmm. Was it inherited? Did it pass to mom? And I don't know.
You don't know the details.
Walk.
It is. It is a lovely day to walk. So how long have you lived in Lakewood?
45 years.
In the house that...
Well, we've been in this house for 45 years. We've been in Lakewood for closer to 50.
Okay. 45 years. So what year was that you guys moved in?
Joshua was born... Well, Jonathan was born in 71. And... we moved to Lakewood when he was like 2.
So at that time that you guys, so that would be about 73, 74.
Yes.
At that time, were there any non-white families on the on this block that we're walking that you live on?
When we moved, I don't remember there being any.
Okay. Okay. And when you guys bought that house 45 years ago, how much did you pay for it?
$76,000. And its current value is between $900,000 and $1 million. And many of these have, there hasn't been much movement.
Right.
In these houses, but I'm unaware of it having passed to a
right. So you're saying, when you say there hasn't been much movement, there may be many couples that are like you that have lived here for over 3 decades, over 4 decades.
There is an anomaly on this street. It may be an anomaly on this street.
Okay.
Where an individual grew up on this street. And now he lives on this street. And his children live on this street.
Oh, wow.
So, and this is one of them coming up, the 2-story gray.
Okay, the 2-story gray.
Lovely people. But their daughter lives here.
Oh, well, that's fantastic.
Now, with that, did Dad
help? Assist? Oh, I see what you're saying. Right.
I don't know.
Right.
The one with the 3 generations living on the block. Grew up in this house with the brick lawn.
Okay.
And I believe the house is still occupied by family.
Okay.
The original owners are deceased. Mom was a real estate agent and made sure that cheap properties were picked up for the family.
Got it.
And her son, living on this block, has 10 or 12 properties.
Oh, wow. Wow.
But for dirt cheap prices.
Right. Because she knew where to look. Got it.
Well, or they would come on listed,
And she would immediately
Immediately.
tell the fellow, right, got it.
well, you do all that, I'll buy it.
Right.
One mom, the real estate agent, managed to lowball and get for the kids. Of course, they bought them,
Right.
but the connections to
Right.
get there. This house is tied to my neighbors, actually.
Oh,
He grew up in the street. I think it's still occupied by family.
okay.
Not transferring title, I guess. The boys still hold it.
Right.
Hold the title. And these people.
Right.
Now, the one where the real estate agent was,
Mm-hmm.
that's her son
Okay. With the Raiders or with the American?
with the American flag.
Okay.
And that's the granddaughter
Got it.
with the Raiders. Now, whether grandmama
Assisted them.
and dad
Right.
assisted
Right.
in that, whether what role the grandmama had in,
Right. Helping him get that property with her connections. Who
Don't
can
know.
say? Who can say? In front of their home.
mom and dad Hispanic.
Okay.
I presume helped their son buy the house next to them.
And you were saying that you presume that because
Because
they
they-
helped their other son?
They did buy, I think they bought the house and are renting it to the son in
Bakersfield son.
Bakersfield, and they're going to just give it to him.
Got it. Got it. Got it. All right. Thank you for that walkthrough, Chuck.